Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Payday 2 Confidential, the series where I postulate my theories about the characters, future and lore of the game Payday 2. And so, without further ado, hang on to your masks, fellow heisters, because we're diving deep into why Duke is a time traveller and where this will take him, or I guess you could say, where it has taken him in the Payday lore. The game's background tells us that he used to go by the alias August Lindenhurst, and he's been researching patterns and rumours in the criminal underworld, and he wants to pull off an epic heist, putting him into the history books with famous robbers of the past. This is all well and good, but it doesn't provide any solid evidence to him being a time traveller. For our first piece of real evidence, we have to go onto the FBI files. On the 17th of April 2018, an email was sent to Commissioner Garrett. This email was a scan of a letter dated to the 5th of January 1905 and signed by August Lindenhurst, who we know is a moniker that Duke himself has used. However, this could mean one of three things. Either he chose to use this name because it was one of his ancestors, or he's over 100 years old, or he's a time traveller and this letter was written by him in the past, which is what we're going to assume for the purposes of this theory. Our first piece of real evidence comes from the Henry's Rock heist, which I believe is supposed to be Area 51. I think that's a fair assumption that a lot of people have made. On this heist, you find a large box that looks like the fabled Ark of the Covenant from Christianity, said to hold the 10 Commandments, but instead inside we find a third Illuminati box, much like the one that we steal for the dentist in the Golden Green Casino heist. But by pressing a button on the Ark of the Covenant, it reveals a secret compartment. Inside are ancient versions of the masks that Wolf Dallas, Chains and Houston wear. I believe that these masks got inside of the box when it was first created, which was probably thousands of years ago, looking at the deterioration of the masks, and if we assume that this is supposed to be the Ark of the Covenant. All of this points to at least somebody in the Payday gang being a time traveller so that they could have placed the masks in there. Our next piece of evidence requires some explaining, so please bear with me. On the 19th of January 2018, Commissioner Garrett received an email featuring a photo of evidence found in Bain's headquarters after his capture. The photo is of a hand-drawn image on a piece of paper, but the only thing we're currently interested in is this word written on the image: Nephilim. Nephilims are mythical creatures, supposedly fallen angels from God, but they are also giants, like literally giants. This is important because on the obsidian tablet that we stole from the Shacklethorne auction heist, which was originally supposed to be in one of our Illuminati boxes, it also says the word Nephilim and has pictures of 3 humanoid stickmen-like figures, presumably these Nephilim. You may be asking, what has this got to do with Duke being a time traveller? Well, throughout various heists, such as the Scarface Mansion, the Diamond, and now the Shacklethorne auction heist, we can see paintings featuring giant humanoid figures, all painted at different periods of time. In the safe house, Duke hangs out in his own art corner, and in the description of his Mega Duke mask, it references famous artists and painters. These facts point to him himself perhaps being a painter and definitely having an interest in art. So, I believe that these paintings of Nephilims have been painted by him at different periods of time after he time travels there. But why have these paintings had to have been painted by Duke and not just painters who lived at that time period normally? Well, the Nephilims are mythical creatures, and most people don't know they exist, and even more people don't believe they exist if they even have heard the name before. But Duke does, because he's caught up in this mess along with the rest of the Payday gang, stealing these magical tablets, seeing all these crazy things, going to Area 51. But also, he's been researching those mysterious rumours in the criminal underworld, and he knows that the Nephilims are real, so when he goes back in time, he knows what he's looking for, and you better believe he's tracked down every single one of them and documented them so that his past, future self knows that they're real. He's set up his own cycle. And I think this is exactly what the obsidian plate implies when it reads, "If needs must, for those who are called to remake your legacy from within." The legacy is what Duke perceives to be his ancestry, but actually they are all himself in the past, which is what he is going to remake when he travels back in time. He is his own ancestor. But how does Duke's time travel journey begin? And how does it end? Well, to answer that question, we have to look again at the obsidian artifacts from inside the 3 Illuminati-esque boxes that we have collected in the safe house. They read, "Where the 4 stand, portals will open. Then see thee how the world comes to an end." I believe this means that if we gather a 4th and final mysterious artifact and put it together with the other 3 we already have, it will open a time portal which simultaneously will begin ripping apart the very fabric of reality, beginning the end of the world. It is this time portal that Duke uses in order to get to different periods of time and accomplish all that I've mentioned so far. We do not know if the world does end or if it is stopped, but in August Lindenhurst's 1905 letter, he does ominously talk about the end of the world, and that the Watcher is gone. And it's not explained in this video, but the Watcher is Bane, and this is true, he is gone currently, so it doesn't bode well. And it's even worse for Duke himself, because we know that he doesn't make it through this alive. How do we know this? Well, we've actually seen his corpse. Let me elaborate. On the Shacklethorne auction heist, Duke tells us that in the early 1900s a family heirloom was stolen from the elephant by a Kotaru member. It is almost certainly August Lindenhurst who stole it. As we know, he's a good heister, what with him being Duke in the future past, and he signs his 1905 letter with the Kotaru symbol. Duke then goes on to tell us that the thief bought his way onto the Shacklethorne expedition by selling the family heirloom that he stole. And we know that good old August Lindenhurst was there because his journal, marked with his initials AL, is one of the auction items. The mysterious failure of the expedition was probably caused by the intervention of a Nephilim, as a painting shows this very thing, a painting by Duke himself. The lone mummified corpse found away from the shipwreck is, in my opinion, what happens to Duke at the end of his time-travelling adventure. He takes all the valuables from the expedition, including an astrolabe that he had brought himself from a more modern time period, gets on a dog sleigh and tries to escape from the Nephilim that he knows is coming because he's seen it in his own painting. But unfortunately, he dies in a very curious way. His chest appears to have been exploded, as if somebody has ripped his heart out in a sacrificial style. The cause of this death is still a mystery, even to me, because a Nephilim is surely far too big to have done it, and I don't know what third party could have done it. So this is the end of Duke, also known as August Lindenhurst, time traveller, artist, heister, extraordinaire. And it looks like it's also the end of the video, so I'll see you all next time for more Payday 2 Confidential!